All right, I am finally ready to describe the lab to you and what we're doing. So if you go to the lab, you can read about it. It's a bit longer than most labs description-wise. It's a bit complicated, but I think once you understand what to do, it won't be terrible. But it's because I'm trying to teach you a lot of different concepts with this one thing, getting started off. So the goal actually is we're going to write code that writes code. This is what's known as HTML code. I'll talk about it more in a moment, but this is the code that runs in your browser that the browser then formats into something nice. So I'm showing here how this code here turns into this table. And so in this assignment, we're going to make a table of holidays that should look like this. And this is something that you'll have to do often in programming is you'll have to take in data in one format and output it in another format. And so in this case, I'm giving you this data in the holidays.cpp file in 3 parallel arrays. Okay, so what I mean by that is, actually, 4 arrays. So I have 4 arrays, each with 41 elements. The first array is an array of holiday names as strings. The second array is an array of the months that those holidays occur. The third array is an array of the days of the month that they occur, and the fourth array is the year that they occur. And what I mean by parallel is that the same indices in these different arrays refer to the same information. So just as an example, let's jump down to the main here, and maybe I'll output something as an example. So say maybe the holiday, so I'll say cout. Remember how cout works? I'll say, maybe I'll make the variable for the index. I'll say, let's see what's at index 5, okay? So I'll see cout holiday names at index, whatever that was. And then maybe I'll also cout then holiday years. And then maybe followed by a /, and then holiday months, followed by another /. And actually, this is getting a bit unwieldy. I'll move on to the next line. So then followed by holiday days. And then maybe finally I put a line break. Okay, now to make this easy, I've actually provided what's known as a makefile. And I'll explain this more as we go along. But what it does is it automatically sets up the commands that you need to type to, first of all, create the object file for dateutils. Okay, so we're saying, the syntax is like this. We say, okay, I want to make this file called dateutils.o. That file depends on dateutils.cpp and dateutils.h. So if either of these files change, I know that I automatically have to rebuild this. And then I'm going to make a program called holidays, which is actually going to compile this, where the main is. It depends on holidays.cpp, and it also depends on this object file here, because I am going to eventually use the getWeekday method and another one that you make there. So it depends on those, and then when I go to compile it, I'm going to link in dateutils.o, and then I'm going to compile holidays.cpp, and the output is going to be called holiday. And so if I have a file that's called makefile like this, all lowercase, and I type make, it just does all of that for me. Actually, if I type make clean real quick, it removes everything. Let me type make again, and you'll see actually it did 2 things here. First, if the object file hasn't been built yet, it builds that object file. And then it runs this command to build everything. All right? And so now I have this file, holidays, that I can run. So let me go ahead and run that. And I see, okay, this is Sukkot, which actually already happened. This is the fall harvest holiday. And I see that, okay, that happened on 10/9/2022. Okay, let me change the index. Maybe I'll go to index 10 now. I'll type make. And actually, you notice that the date utils didn't change. Only holidays changed, so it only had to run this command. So that's pretty nice. And now let me go ahead and run that again. And now we have Veterans Day, which was on November 11th, 2022. Okay. So that's where the data is, and this is what I mean by parallel arrays. Okay, so arrays that hold different pieces of the same information. So we have one array that holds the name, another array that holds the year, month, and then the day. Okay, so that's where all the information is. But I actually need to go a step further in this lab, and I need to do some formatting. So I need to make rows of this table in HTML. So just to show you an example here. Okay, so a row starts off. So maybe I'll do something that's not totally correct, or not exactly what I'm looking for in this assignment, but I'll show you maybe an example of how to make a row in a table. So the first thing is I'm going to output tr. Now you don't have to know HTML to do this assignment, don't worry. You only have to know the small subset that I'm teaching you here, okay? You just have to know how to make tables. Maybe I'll actually make the whole table here. So the table starts with this, and then a row starts with this. So this is start row. And then each column, so maybe instead of outputting this comma here, each column starts with a TD like that. That's what it looks like. And then it ends with a /TD like that. I'll just put a line break so these end up on different lines. And yeah, so every column is going to be like that. So maybe I'll just put the date on its own column after that. And so that I'll make sure to end this. And then I also have to, okay, so these are the individual columns. It's whatever is in between a TD that looks like this and then a /TD that looks like this. And once I'm done, okay, so the slash means end, whatever it was. So, okay, I'm going to end this row. So this is the command to end row. And then finally, I'm going to end the table. So here is end table. All right. So let me make that again. And now it outputs actually HTML code for me here, which is kind of interesting. But that's not actually a web page. To turn it into a web page, what we have to do is something called redirecting standard out. Okay. So what we're going to do is this outputs a bunch of text. We're going to send that text to a file. This is very cool. And this is maybe where you're first going to start to really see the power of the command line for the first time. Okay. So I run this, and then I redirect it to an output. And let's call it out.html. Okay, so I'm going to run this. Now notice nothing got outputted to the terminal, but actually it got output to a new file that it created called out.html. And if I go ahead and open this with the live server, I see some stuff here. Now this is technically a table, although I guess it's a bit hard to see. Let me add one more thing here. Maybe I'll say, let's see, style equals border colon, let's try 10 pixel border there. See if we can get that to look a little different. So now if I go back here, oh, it still didn't work. Let's see. Wait, did it not? Let's see, I made this, holidays. I want to do that again. Seems like it didn't actually refresh the page here. So let me just launch it again. Ah, I'm still not getting the border. Okay, well the border's not showing up. Well, anyway, this is a table. Can I make it look better? Actually, I think if I just say maybe border equals 1. Let's try that. It's funny, I use HTML all the time, but I'm forgetting some of this basic stuff. Okay, anyway, now this has a border, and you can see it's actually a table. So I had to refresh the page there. All right, but I explained a little bit more about how to set that up. Now, in this assignment, you're going to have to output multiple holidays. So maybe I want multiple different rows. Maybe I'll just put the first 10 here. And so maybe I'll just copy and paste this code inside here. Actually, let me make this index here. And so now, this is going to be a little bit neat, powerful, I think you'll see already. Now index is a variable, and so I can actually output something different for each row here. if I just run the code here, you see it's outputting a bunch of stuff. If I then redirect standard out to this file, and I go back and I look at that file and I refresh there, now I see all these holidays, okay? But this isn't exactly what I want. I actually want you to do a little more work and tell me the day of the week and then format them in this format. And so in the lab, I'm going to have you first create a method. It's a general purpose method, so it's really a date utils thing. So you'll put the forward declaration in date utils and then define it here. The first thing to do is make a method that takes in a number, a month number, and returns a string for what that month is. So if you passed it an int 1, it should return a string January. If you pass it an int 2, it should return string February. Then you can stick in here and you can, I want you to make a couple different methods that work together to output all the rows of this table. All right, so that's pretty much it. So there's a good amount of background here. I won't always have to have a pre-lab like this, but I wanted you to, while we're a little bit lighter in terms of what's due, I wanted you to study this a little bit and come ready so that we can actually use most of the class to hopefully get most of this lab done, so you won't have to work too much outside of class. All right, so I'll just have a couple quick questions about what I just talked about, and then I will see you on Wednesday.